welcome to Taking the Side Roads. I'm Blair, this is Jeremy, and we're at the House of Presidents, or President's Hall of Fame. Either one's good, but it has a lot of interesting White House attractions and memorabilia in there. It's located in Clermont, Florida, so why don't we go in and see what we can find. No idea what this car is, but they do have a TV. See the TV? Right there.
Hi, how are you today?
Good.
Yeah.
For you.
And there's Mr. Trump.
John and Jan Zweifel of Orlando. They're the curators, historians, and owners of the museum. It is privately owned. Creators of the miniature White House replica you'll see inside today. The replica is actually 60 feet long and 20 feet wide. It comes apart in sections and travels. It has been on a 15-year women's tour.
Wow.
It's been to all 50 states, Europe, Japan, and the Netherlands. When it was in Europe and the Netherlands, they had audiences with the queens, and in Japan with the emperor. Because of it, they met most every modern day president. We have 2 portraits with the Fords and 1 with the Carters. I think the traffic's bad in Clermont. I had to go over Altamont Way one time, and I'm like, I'm glad I wasn't.
Yeah.
If you look behind you to the front wall, the big wooden English shield, that's another original piece he obtained at an auction. That's from 1876, and that was in Philadelphia for our country's centennial.
Wow.
The table setting we have out represents a state dining table. They sit 8 to 10 to a table. Dining room is usually set for 80, but they can accommodate up to about 120. The average meal is 2.5 to 3.5 hours. Luncheons are 6 courses, dinners are 12. So you'd see all the stemware, because depending on the course, you'll get red or white wine, and they always have champagne for toasting. Those menus are originals from the White House. They're just a few years old. The china we put out on the table represents the Benjamin Harrison collection, the 23rd president. Each first family can pick their own china, which will be made for them, unless there's one in storage they'd like to use from a previous family. Out of all the first families we've had, less than half, only 18, ever chose a new pattern. But the White House has stored most everything for decades.
No, of course.
Usually in the state dining room, and it surprises some people, the president and first lady do not sit at the same table. That's for security, and so they don't dominate the conversation. It's not to say they can't, they just This represents when they were building the White House. It took them 8 years, 1792 to 1800. And then during the War of 1812, it was actually 1814, but during that war, the British burned a portion down, had to be rebuilt. And they had burned it down in retaliation because our troops had burnt down Fort York when we marched in Canada. And Fort York later became Toronto. We used stonemasons from our country and some slave labor. A lot of people to this day still think it was all slave labor, but it was not. We also had immigrants from Scotland and Ireland brought over because they could do that fancy carving up there in the stone that the ones here couldn't do. But back then, as they made a stone or a brick, they would number them. And the builders took them by number and built the White House. You don't do a big puzzle together.
Pretty much.
Over the years, there have been a lot of additions and renovations, but some of the main ones took place when Truman was in office. The Trumans moved across the street to the Blair House. They went in by section and gutted the entire White House. And they put all steel beams in. The original wood was rotting and had termites.
Oh.
And there had been an incident when Margaret Truman, the daughter, was playing a piano on the 2nd floor, and the piano legs dropped right through the floor. Nobody was hurt. First bathtub came in the Franklin Pierce administration, and a few presidents later, President Taft got stuck in the bathtub. He wasn't our shortest, he was our roundest. He weighed over 325, and it took 4 men to get him out. Wow. Throughout the museum, all the presidents are wax. That's why the museum was built. That side goes left to right. You may not know them all by face. We have a list at this end and a chart down at the other end that tells you who they are and when they served. And if you look at the chart, it'll tell you who they are. And if you look at the gown description, you'll know the First Lady that wore it. You don't see it from this side on the miniature, but when you get to the back, all the rooms are open, so you see that information. There's a table with charts on it, tells you about the rooms. Right now, it's only through George W. and Laura Bush. Not that the Zweifels don't want to update, but that was done prior to 9/11. After 9/11, they have not been allowed to take their crew through suspension photograph on the rooms.
Makes sense.
And Jacqueline Kennedy was the first to allow them in the White House, which John started in the 60s. Even a young man, he had a grandmother who was severely disabled. When he'd come home, because he's an artist and literature major, even when he was a kid, he'd come home and a lot of people do not realize there are wings on the White House.
Going to be Keep America Great! Exclamation point.
This is the West Wing of the White House. And a lot of these are administrative buildings. President's dining room that he has with his family. And then his office is over here. And then over here, we'll recognize the briefing room. That's where they do all of the news briefs, everything. Cabinet office. More offices. And then we get to the actual house. That's First Lady's sitting room. State dining room. It's incredible, all of this replica of what's in there. I've actually taken the White House tour, and some of these rooms you get into, and then some of them you don't get to. Especially like in this model, own private theater room. And there's a little fountain. And this is all of the administrative offices for the First Lady.
Nini, say goodbye.